to Crime Night. I'm Julia Zemiro. We're deep diving into the world of crime and unearthing the science and psychology behind it all. Tonight we're taking a good hard look at eyewitness testimony. The who's that, what's happening, and why do they need that shovel, tarp and quicklime? We've got a lineup of the country's brightest criminal minds. Our first expert is a former journalist with qualifications in psychology and crime science. She's a living, breathing Google for crime with far fewer pop-ups. Please welcome Professor Danielle Reynald. Danielle, has your work changed the way you see the world day to day?
It's changed everything. I can't stop studying people.
Hyper-vigilant all the time.
I notice all kinds of things that I really don't want to notice.
Watch out, everyone, she's watching you. Up next, he's a criminologist and an expert in corporate risk management, which begs the question, why is he sitting on a panel with comedians? Please welcome Dr. David Bartlett. David, what's the most common risk people don't realise they're taking?
I'd say it's not taking 5 minutes to think about what their actual risk profile is and then figuring out how to prevent it.
Oh, what would my risk profile be?
Well, let's not go there.
Let's really not go there. Our first panellist is a comedian, actor and award-winning ballroom dancer. Oh, yes, tonight she's very grateful. This gig comes with a chair. Please welcome Celia Pacquola. Thank you, Julia. What's the pettiest crime you'd happily admit to on television?
Oh, Ringwood East in the late 90s, I was the lip smacker bandit. And let me tell you, every target was a target, Julia.
Wow. And finally, she is a comedy powerhouse, an award winner. She puts the wit in Eyewitness. It's Mel Buttle, everyone. Has criminology ever been on your radar? Is it something you're interested in?
Yes. I was at uni, I was studying teaching at Griffith University, Danielle, your alma mater, and I walked past a criminology class and it looked so much more interesting than what we were doing, which was nouns and verbs. I didn't really listen. Anyway. And I went home and I was like, I want to do criminology. And my dad was like, there are no jobs in that. And wouldn't he have egg on his face? 1, 2 jobs.
Wow. Very good. And you've got them. Eyewitness testimony seems pretty reliable. You see something, you say what you saw. It's crucial to many criminal cases, and in the 90s, Australian audiences used it when they found themselves in the middle of a murder investigation every week on the TV game show Cluedo.
Now, you've seen the circumstances leading up to this crime. Who would like to interrogate these people?
Mrs. White, that substance, was that poison?
You didn't see me place it in the tea?
Well, what was your left hand doing then?
Don't be personal.
ABC missed a trick there. Cluedo is the Q&A I could actually get behind. Whether we like it or not, we're all eyewitnesses, constantly observing, analysing and judging. So much judging. Eyewitness testimony has led to the conviction of some of the world's most heinous criminals, including serial killer Ivan Milat. One survivor, British backpacker Paul Onions, had a terrifying encounter with Milat near the Belanglo State Forest.
He was hitchhiking in January 1990 and was picked up by Milat.
Onions became suspicious of Milat's attitude and they made an excuse to stop the car. Paul Onions ran off and was pursued by Milat, who fired a number of shots at him.
Onions escaped his ordeal and years later was involved in identifying Milat from a police lineup.
I went through all the pictures and that was the one that gave me initial reaction. Just made me uneasy when I looked at it. And then when I looked closer, I said to him, that's the person who I think I met that day.
He pinpointed Ivan Milat from a series of photos. Milat became suspect number 1.
His identification of Milat played a significant role in establishing his guilt. This was an eyewitness testimony success story, bringing down one of the most monstrous criminals in Australian history. David, what made this particular evidence so compelling?
This particular case is really interesting and very unusual as well. So Onions is standing outside a shop. It's daylight, so we know lighting's good. And Ivan Milat approaches him. And as Milat's walking towards him, he's thinking, that could be Dennis Lilly. So he's actually thinking...
Sorry, really?
Yeah, the cricketer, yeah.
Because of his moustache?
Moustache, yeah.
Right.
So as Milat's walking towards him, Onions is really paying close attention to his facial features, thinking, is this or isn't this Dennis Lilly? So they have a conversation and Milat offers Onions a lift. So he gets in the car with him. The incident unfolds And luckily for Onions, he was managed to get away. So he's run away, he's made it up onto the roadway and flagged down a car. And so this motorist has stopped, he's got in the vehicle, and he's told the driver parts of what's happened. Now, what that telling the story does is it actually helps to cement that memory into his brain. The driver, thankfully, has done the right thing and has taken him to the closest police station, which wasn't that far away. So within a really short period of time, he's gone from the incident that happened to being at a police station, explaining and telling the story.
So it's all those different events together that really make it a really strong eyewitness account.
Yeah, and the Onions case is definitely not typical because we know that violent crimes usually tend to happen really, really quickly. Witnesses are usually in this heightened state of arousal, which affects their perception. And usually what they're thinking is, how am I going to protect myself, not who is this person that's doing this to me?
Eyewitness testimony is the main form of evidence in over 20% of cases, but that doesn't mean it's always reliable. In the US, the Innocence Project works to overturn wrongful convictions, and they report that in nearly 70% of cases exonerated by DNA evidence, the original conviction involved eyewitness testimony. It's the leading contributing cause of wrongful conviction. Take the case of Richard Phillips, who spent almost 46 years in prison for a murder we now know he did not commit.
Phillips was picked out of a lineup by a witness. With the help of the Innocence Project, Phillips was exonerated. When the man who originally committed the crime told the judge Phillips was innocent.
Danielle, tell me about this case.
What implicated him in this case was the eyewitness misidentification from two eyewitnesses. The owner of the store that was robbed, as well as his son, both said that Phillips was at the scene of the crime and he was never there. He went into prison when he was 20-something years old, came out when he was in his 70s, and he was given $1.5 million in compensation from Michigan State for the wrongful conviction. But this guy is, 70-something years old now.
Is there any punishment for the witnesses who got it wrong?
No. They genuinely thought that they were doing the right thing. And this is the fallibility of memory. They were clear in their evidence.
They just made a mistake.
They just made a mistake.
Oh my
yeah, they don't know they got it wrong, yeah.
I think they get some looks. Like, if I was in that town, I'd be like,
I'd be like, someone should have gone to Specsavers.
Danielle, what other factors played into Phillips' misidentification?
There are several people who've researched this case who point to own race bias. And own race bias is this bias that suggests that people are much better at identifying others who are the same race as them. The two witnesses in this particular case were white, and of course Phillips was black. So own race bias might have been one of the factors that caused the misidentification.
One of the other factors in here is what we know as weapon focus. So this is the idea that when a gun's present in a scene, people become very focused and hyper-focused on that weapon at the exclusion of other things. So they'll actually won't pick up on key features of the person holding the weapon, other features of the environment, because they're so focused on the gun itself.
Would a gun draw your attention, Mel?
no, I'm from Queensland. Seen it all before. You know what? If it was shiny, it would. Yeah.
Just say weapon focus. I've got toe ring focus. If I see a toe ring, I'm like, bang! That's all. Nothing else exists. Why? Yuck! I don't know who Dennis Lilly is, but if they had a toe ring, I'm like, let me tell you what toe it was on and how it made me feel.
We see things all the time, but whether we actually remember them, that's another story, one I probably already forgot. Here's a graph that properly illustrates that point. This is the forgetting curve. It shows we forget 50% of the information we learn within an hour and up to 70% within 24 hours. You'd think the significance of what you're seeing would make your memory more accurate, but even that's not true. Let's take the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It was witnessed by hundreds of people at Dealey Plaza. Yet despite the crowd, their accounts of what happened varied wildly, especially about the gunshots. 66% couldn't clearly identify where the shots came from. 17% said they came from the fence on that famous grassy knoll. 13% said the book depository. One witness, Orville Nix, was confident at first. He believed the shots came from near the fence on the grassy knoll.
Did you think at that time that the shots came from the book depository building?
No, I thought it came from a fence. Most everyone thought it came from the fence.
But later, after hearing other accounts and media coverage confirming the shots did come from the depository, Nix changed his tune.
At the present time, Where do you believe the shots came from?
Well, they came from the book depository because there's proof that it did come from there.
So if we can't get the story straight with this many witnesses, how reliable is this form of evidence? David, maybe we should just kick it to the curb.
Not entirely, no.
OK, all right.
So attention's a funny thing. So our brain, every second, is getting stimuli through what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we touch and so on. And it's just too much for it to actually process. So what it does is it starts to filter out things it thinks we don't need. And what's left is what we're essentially paying attention to. You'll see this in couples sometimes where to be describing an event that they were both at and their description can be quite variable and it can be a real source of tension.
Just recently, the other night, I maintained that we had a lovely dinner together and then I went to bed. He says, I came home drunk, demanded pasta, ate it and threw up. And listen, he's right.
What about you, Mel? Do you find that you and your wife disagree
Yes.
sometimes on the same event?
She has no street smarts and pays no attention, whereas I'm always like, drug dealer on your six, just be aware.
Danielle, are our ears better than our eyes when it comes to witnessing an event?
Auditory witnesses are just as unreliable as eyewitnesses, especially when we are hearing gunshots. And we know people are really not good at judging the number of gunshots that they hear, especially when there are multiple gunshots. People usually don't hear the first shot. And that makes sense, right? Because you can imagine it's only after you hear the first shot that you start noticing, you pay attention and you start counting the number of gunshots that follow. And then there's also the fact that most people don't actually know what a gunshot sounds like.
That's where I go, is that right?
Yeah, and a flag comes out and it says, bang on it.
David, did the amount of witnesses hinder or help in the JFK case?
Part of the problem is you've got a couple hundred people that have witnessed it, but the police can't isolate those witnesses and get their accounts quickly, just because of the sheer volume of people, but also the chaos that would have ensued in that particular event. Think about the attempted assassination on President Trump. It's like that event on steroids, because there was several thousand people, there was live TV, you've got the 24-hour news cycle, and so there's all these conflicting stories. And you start to really wonder, where is the truth? It's sort of somewhere in here. What that means is that everyone sort of starts communicating with each other around what they think they just saw and heard and so on. And what that serves to do is contaminate everyone's memory.
Danielle, do we really forget facts as much as that forgetting curve suggests?
Oh, absolutely. So your memory is most reliable immediately after an event that you see, and it genuinely decays over time. Hot tip, record it in some way. Like if something happens that you want to remember, try and find any method that you can to keep a record of it. Write it down, take a photo of it, take a video of it, even talk to somebody about it.
Celia, Mel, over your careers, you've memorised and performed hours of material, but how good are you at remembering regular, ordinary people? Let's find out in our Experiment of the Week. Look, we haven't been completely honest with you today, Mel and Celia. When you arrived at the ABC this morning, you witnessed a verbal altercation in the foyer between a security guard and an angry woman on the phone. And we secretly filmed you while this altercation occurred. For those watching at home, here it is.
We'll just sign you in here. Yes, hello. I was told I was getting transferred to someone who could actually help me. No, I've already given you that information twice. It should be on your system. No, I don't want to go through it again. You've already got that information from the 2 other calls that I had. Is it really that difficult? No, this is a joke. This is theft.
Excuse me. Just keep it down, please.
Yeah.
There's other people.
Yeah. This is ridiculous. I just need you to transfer me my money back. I don't know why it's this hard. Clearly, I'm being put through to someone else who's just as incompetent as everybody else I've spoken to.
Now it's Celia's turn.
No, I'm not. I don't care what your system says. I just need you to transfer the money back. You just need to authorise it, OK? That's it. This is a joke. Yeah, OK. No, can you... What's your name? Give me your name and then put me through to a supervisor. Because this is not OK. Me.
Your job now is to recall who you saw and to recreate her face using our very own version of this old-school Identikit board game. Right, so let's see how you go. You've got different slides there. There's ones of mouths and there's ears and there's eyes and there's hairs.
I didn't really look. I don't know if you could tell. I'm not good at a subtle don't look now. Really not. I'm 90% sure she had eyes. How many, though, is the question.
I think I saw her eyes.
Try and put yourself back in that environment and just see if you can almost pause it and think about what you did pay attention to.
Her shoes?
So, well...
shoes in this box. I was paying attention to the swearing.
You can see Mel is really concentrating because she thinks there's a prize at the end of this. You've got 10 seconds.
OK, I think I've made Mel. Nailing it.
Well, time's up. Let's have a look at Mel's results.
I've made the Mullygrubs woman.
It's not, I mean, it's pretty good.
I think it's if her and I had a baby.
Let's go to Celia and see your Identikit.
Can you see it?
That was hard to do, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm exhausted, Julia.
Yeah. Give them a round of applause. Some witnesses are cool under pressure. Others are unpredictable, easily distracted, and can be bribed with snacks. Here's Lou Wall to explain.
Have you ever taken a moment to consider all of the things our pets silently witness? But there is one pet that has helped convict more criminals than any other, and I am not talking about Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Nope, it is the parrot. Some breeds have freakishly good memories and terrifyingly accurate impressions. They've even been considered as eyewitnesses in court.
The family of Martin Durham says his pet bird Bud was home at the time he was fatally shot, and the parrot can't stop talking about it.
Martin's wife Glenna was eventually convicted of murder, but she wishes they'd gotten a fish. But it turns out these murder-solving parrots are surprisingly common. There's Max, Lorenzo, and Hercule. Polly doesn't want a cracker. Polly wants justice. There's even Echo, an eyewitness parrot who conveniently shares her name with another witness, the Amazon Echo, proving you don't have to be a human to be an eyewitness. An AI witness, that is. Hey Alexa, spill the tea, girl. You ever witnessed a crime?
I'm not technically supposed to be listening, but recordings from smart devices like Amazon's Echo have been used in murder cases.
Interesting. So could you help me, like, say, you know, hide the evidence?
I didn't quite catch that.
Sure you didn't. So if you are thinking of committing a crime at home, it is not just flies on the wall you should worry about. It's also pets and voice assistants who may be witnessing you hide the body.
Now playing Everybody by the Backstreet Boys.
David, can parrots really be called as witnesses in court?
Not in Australia, no.
No.
So one of the golden rule basically is that a witness needs to be able to take an oath and be cross-examined, and you can't cross-examine a parrot.
Why not? They can help the police, but they can't give evidence.
Well, they can't answer questions, and their evidence can't be tested. So the defence, for example, couldn't ask the parrot a question about where it heard that piece of information from, or...
The only one you can't put on the stand? Lyrebird.
Hey, listen.
Hey. No regrets.
Eyewitness testimony relies on people remembering what they've seen. The problem is our memories can let us down. And like a boomer on Facebook, they're also easily influenced. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus puts it like this. Memory works like a Wikipedia page. You can go in and change it, but so can other people. Fun fact, both my memory and my Wikipedia page say I'm 45, and I am happy to leave it that way. When it comes to recalling what we've seen, our memories aren't just unreliable, they're also impressionable. Loftus calls this the misinformation effect.
What we do is we show people a simulated crime or an accident, and then we might try to deliberately feed them some misinformation about what they experienced. Sometimes they will adopt it as their own memory and become convinced of it.
Loftus and decades worth of research since shows that memory isn't fixed. It can be distorted and it's open to suggestions.
We were able, through the power of suggestion, to convince people, for example, that they were lost in a shopping mall when they were 5 years old.
I think I went over to look at the toy store, and we got lost, and I was looking around, and I thought, uh-oh, I'm in trouble now, you know, and then I thought I was never going to see my family again.
Except that never happened. That specific memory was implanted by his brother as an extra credit assignment in Loftus's class, which honestly gives me hope. Maybe some of my bad memories were just someone's homework. Danielle, the research here from Loftus is pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah. I love these studies so much. They're so fascinating. There are a series of these studies, and I think the really simple ones are my favorite. For example, there's one where she shows a group of people a car accident. Okay, it's a video of a car accident. There are two groups that she splits them into. One group, they ask them afterwards, how fast do you think the cars were going when they smashed into each other? The second group, they asked, how fast do you think the cars were going when they hit each other? The group that got that leading word smashed were much more likely to estimate that the car was going faster than the group that got the word hit. Then it gets even better. A week later, they bring the two groups back and they ask them, was there any broken glass in the video that you watched? The group that got the smashed word said that there was broken glass in the video much more than the group that got the hit word. And there was no broken glass in the video.
And that was a week later, so that means if they changed your memory, they've changed it forever.
What she is showing is how leading questions and suggestive questions very soon after you've witnessed something can impact your memory of it.
So like, is this murderer the killer?
I think Loftus's research really questioned the reliability of eyewitness testimony. But as powerful as Loftus's research is, it is still highly contested.
And it's really changed policing practice. Because of all this research, police now know some of the pitfalls around how they interview witnesses and so on. Police that have been trained in cognitive interviewing and investigative interviewing will simply ask, tell me what happened.
Yes.
They won't ask those really leading questions about, did you see the smash? Police now also don't rely exclusively on eyewitness evidence. So they realise that they've got to go and keep collecting that other evidence, the physical evidence and so on, that supports what the eyewitness is saying.
It's not just eyewitness testimony, it's eyewitness testimony and a parrot. And then
Sometimes it's not other people who change our memories, it's us. The more we retell a story, the more we can bend the facts until eventually we're not remembering it, we're potentially rewriting it. Over 4 decades as a news anchor, Brian Williams was one of the most recognisable journalists on American TV. In 2003, when reporting from the Iraq War, Williams recounted that the helicopter ahead of his was hit by enemy fire. But as the years passed, the story changed. By 2008, he claimed multiple helicopters, including his, had come under fire. By 2013, his own chopper had now taken a direct hit too, except it hadn't. Soldiers on the scene revealed that Williams was in a separate aircraft that arrived later and was not the one under attack. His version of events didn't match reality. The backlash was swift and was enough to end his run as NBC's top news anchor. Williams later said, "I don't know what screwed up in my mind that caused me to conflate one aircraft from the other. The fact is, I remember 3 aircraft going down. I was on one of them." This may have been a memory bending under pressure or not, but if someone trained to get the facts right can slip like this, it really makes you wonder about the rest of us. Danielle, is it possible for the facts to become screwed up in your mind as Brian has described?
Your memory is editable, it's revisable, and it's socially influenced. But there's also self-editing, where you can go into your Wikipedia memory page anytime. You can eliminate certain facts, you can add certain facts, and sometimes you can do that consciously, but sometimes you can do it completely subconsciously.
So he might not even know he was doing it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's no way for us to know whether he did it deliberately or not, but it's also possible that he doesn't know either.
Celia, Mel, have you ever rewritten a memory like that?
Yes, example, I grew up in a country town. My father was the principal of the primary school that I went to when I went there. Like one time I came home and I had on my report card, he had written, in regards to her spelling, Celia requires more parental attention. Bit of fun, because he's my teacher and he's my dad, right? I've told this story for years and years and years. Turns out it was my sister. It wasn't me at all. She's like, no, and she showed me he was never my teacher, he was her teacher, and I would have sworn up and down in a court of law that absolutely happened to me.
So, David, how problematic is this in relation to eyewitness testimony?
Look, there's a few sort of issues here. One is the reporting. So if we think back to the Paul Onions case, for example, that was like the gold standard. He was reporting almost to police almost straight away and making that statement, which is great. Because when we think about the sort of court process, what normally happens is there's the event, then sometime later the person gives the statement to police, and it can be years, even decades, before that matter even gets to court. Sometimes that statement that's taken is the only thing that people remember. Because of that, we saw before the memory curve and how memory decays, those witnesses sometimes have to go back to the statement to refresh their memory, and they'll go, oh, yeah, actually, I do remember this now. But it's only because that statement exists and was made at the time. But the other thing is around confidence, and I think this is where Williams came unstuck, because he told that story so confidently, and then it was found to be not true. And there's this real issue with confidence and accuracy. So juries tend to see people giving evidence confidently as being more accurate. And that's just not the case at all.
We've had some fun with Celia and Mel's memories today, but now it's time to test our audience and yours at home with the game we're calling The Lineup. Remember the altercation from earlier? We want to see if you can recall anything about what you witnessed only 15 minutes ago. We know that these two remembered a certain amount. But what did the security guard look like?
This is a great lineup.
Now, this is an old-school police lineup. 5 people, one of which is the actual security guard from the altercation, and 4 others who thought that they were here to be on hard quiz. Studio audience, it's time to vote on who you think is the real security guard. David, they all look really, really similar. Is that actually what a lineup looks like?
This is almost like the perfect lineup.
Perfect.
Yeah. Wow,
This is absolutely
Because
textbook.
they're similar.
Like, there's no random one with hair or anything like that. And they're all dressed the same way. So this is actually really neat as a lineup.
Celia and Mel, you were there. Any ideas?
This is so stressful. I don't want to put someone in jail. I think they all look like dads at a wedding. So I need to see number 4 do the chicken dance. I don't remember seeing them at all.
I do, and I also think this person's behaviour currently is slightly different to the others.
Or they act standing guiltily.
Yes.
Oh, you're going to write it down? OK. Should I take a stab then? You written yours down?
I've written mine down.
I'm gonna.
For $50,000.
I'm gonna say 4. I'm gonna say 4.
Well, isn't that interesting? Members of our audience picked out 4 of these guys. 52% of them, and Mel got it right. The correct security guard was actually number 2. You are correct, Mel. Tonight, our reliance on eyewitness testimony really should come with terms and conditions. And while it's an important part of our justice system, it probably shouldn't be the star of the show. At most, it's a backup dancer that can do a kind of flip. Please thank our panel, Professor Danielle, Reynald, Dr. David Bartlett, Celia Pacquola and Mel Buttle. I'm Julia Zemiro, and to implant a little memory for you to take home, tonight's episode was brilliant television. Good night.